One Word is a production of BFAC On Air.
Welcome back, everyone, to One Word.
One Word.
I am Dominic.
I'm Jenna.
I'm Kate.
I'm Chloe.
And I'm Clara.
We heard a new name there. Kate.
What was that?
Kate.
Huh.
Kate is our special guest.
A special guest?
Yay.
I don't know why I said
So
that.
special.
I'm so special.
You are so special.
I'm so special.
And the conversation we had
Was
today
special.
regarding
It was.
our word for today, Schadenfreude.
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 That is
Ho,
not a real song, as you will find out from our episode. It's just a song Jenna made up.
It's
But,
a song I made
you know,
up. It's a
we have
beautiful song.
not been blessed with the Jenna
With
made up
Jenna's
song
song?
in a while.
Wait, the song is actually longer
Didn't you
than
make
that.
a one-word
ready?
intro song for the intro?
Yeah.
to
I
the song?
did.
She's got it. Go, Jenna.
Okay, ready?
Tell us the song.
Schadenfreude, Schadenfreude, ist schon ist deutsches Wort.
What does that mean?
I don't
It
know what
means it's a lovely German word, but it's not really lovely.
Did you look it up? Did you translate it?
I did.
I love it. That was fantastic. Fantastic.
You need to put that on Spotify.
People would be like, yes.
Stream it. Put
Yes.
it in our podcasting on Spotify.
Yeah.
Yes, I will.
So
But-
we
well, that's
had
gonna
such
make
an interesting conversation today.
it. Yeah, thanks for taking
Yep,
over there.
you're welcome.
Normally Dominic interrupts us, but today it was
Today it's me.
Chloe.
I'm in my
Chloe's all
Dominic
business.
training. Yeah. So we had a really interesting conversation. One of the interesting things we talked about was this word and its absence from certain languages, including English.
That
Yeah.
was interesting.
Some other ones, we played a little game where we guessed if languages had this word or not, and it was
You should
really
play
interesting.
along.
You should play
You
along
should
with us.
tabulate
Yeah.
your scores,
You
see if
just
you beat
need
us.
one
You beat
hand.
us.
You
Your
probably just
scores.
need one hand.
Yeah.
You probably only need
Unless you're like really smart, and then you
Unless
might
you're
need two
really
hands.
smart, yeah. So there's something interesting I didn't get to share. So there is Pinker is the name in 1997. This is regarding the languages. So
Is a person named
whether
Pinker?
a language appears to have a word for an emotion depends on the skill of the translator and the quirks of the language's grammar and history. A language accumulates a large vocabulary, including words for emotions, when it has had influential wordsmiths. Contact with with other languages, rules for forming new words out of old ones, and widespread literacy,
So
which
English is-
allows new words, basically.
So English is definitely a quirky language, isn't it?
It is definitely
Yeah.
a quirky word. So Pinker goes on to say, when English speakers hear the word Schadenfreude for the first time, their reaction is not, let me see, pleasure in another's misfortune? What could that possibly be? I can't grasp that concept. My language and culture have not provided me with such a category. No, that's not what they say. Their reaction is, you mean there's a word for that? Cool. That's what they think.
That's funny.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a lot of languages that have words for it, and there's some that don't have words for it. And how far back do they actually go? We talk about that.
There's a lot of different kinds of Schadenfreude. We were talking about the different flavors. Rivalry, it's aggression, it's justice, it's cherry Coke. Like there's a bunch of different things.
I prefer
Yeah.
lemon lime.
I'm on the cherry Coke train.
That's funny.
That's
we
true.
also talked, you shared a bit about Aristotle.
Yeah, I seem to
And
be the
we
one
got
who talks about
philosophical, yeah.
Aristotle. Yeah.
And
yeah.
he has a book called Rhetoric 2, which is the sequel to Rhetoric 1.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for the
Rhetoric 3.
the vision, the movie
Sorry.
to be
Yeah,
made.
I
wanna-
know, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
book is better, though.
Probably. I did a lot of reading on that one today.
Yeah, so prepare your ears to hear about Rhetoric 2. Oh, you know what else happened? Okay. I got to say a lot of the names that Dominic had written
Oh,
down.
yeah.
Yeah.
She did so good.
Which I'm not going to lie, it was very enjoyable for me.
Yeah,
You're going to love it, I promise.
she's better at those kind of names.
She's so good at pronouncing.
I had to break out the computer saying the
Oh
words
my
for us
Mm-hmm.
for a couple words because we're novices when it comes to speaking.
And I do a really good impression of that. So you
Yeah,
and
that
we
was
just
fun.
want people to know we were actually saying them. the way
Yes, so
they're
you
supposed
believe
to.
us that we're not just saying it wrong. Yeah.
What I found interesting
Yeah.
is how where does Schadenfreude kind of cross that line into narcissism, and when it's that
Yeah.
silly thing that just
oh, something bad happened, but it's like just kind of funny. And
Yeah.
it's not like so bad.
Yeah.
So like there's like that line where it's like, okay, that's just being a narcissist.
Yeah. It can get dark.
It can
It
get
can
really
get dark fast,
Yeah.
I think.
Like a Roman holiday almost.
Oh, ooh, that's a really interesting fact
It is.
in the episode. It's towards the end. So here's a few things I didn't get to talk about in the episode either. This is what people say about Schadenfreude.
What did they say, Dominic?
Hey?
What did they say?
So
I don't know, Chloe.
I loved it.
it is an infallible sign of a thoroughly bad heart.
That's so
Schopenhauer,
rude.
1841. It's an even more hideous cousin of envy.
We talked about envy a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Kierkegaard.
Kierkegaard.
My
Yeah.
name is Kierkegaard and my rating is impeccable. Check out my teleological illustrations of that wasn't a word, of the ethical. That's from The Good Place. We talked about The Good Place.
It is harmful to social relations. And in Human, All Too Human by Nietzsche, he says, all pleasure is in itself neither good nor bad, as it refers to.
All Too
as
Human
short.
sounds like the name of a song by Nietzsche.
Wouldn't it be great if Nietzsche was a songwriter?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
I'd probably know a lot more about Nietzsche, not gonna lie.
Carol!
Oh no.
Carol, put on the Nietzsche record! I want to hear that Nietzsche hit!
I don't ever remember Jerome's voice.
You're not Jerome, you're Carol.
Oh dang it, I'm Carol. I don't ever remember Carol's voice. Carol, I'm sorry.
But I got some tears coming out of you there,
know,
Jen.
I feel like it always ends up sounding a lot like your voice.
It does.
Then I'm like, Jerome, I don't know. I'm sorry, Jerome.
Well, my friends, I don't think we should talk on any longer.
No, we should not.
No. Without further ado,
I need a tissue.
just have one word for you. Schadenfreude.
Our word for this month is
Schadenfreude.
Oh my gosh.
Schadenfreude, which is a bit of a complicated word that hopefully
It
we'll
is.
pronounce right throughout this episode.
Schadenfreude.
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 This word means literally, it's a German word, and it literally means damage joy or harm joy.
Damaged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damage or harm joy.
It's kind of the malicious joy in the misfortune of others,
Yeah.
which is an interesting thing.
Finding joy in others' misfortunes. Something we all do all the time, right? Or what I should say is no one would want to
Not on
admit, right?
purpose.
Yeah.
So let's go back
Wow.
in time. Let's talk about the first time that this word was used. In Germany, they first found it in the 1740s, and his name is Christoph Stark. And I can't even pronounce the you want to take a stab at that, Jenna? The
From Synopsis
Publication.
or Biblio?
It's the whole thing from Synopsis. That's
Okay,
the start
so
of it.
it was first used by Christopher Stark in Synopsis Bibliotheca Exegeticae in Vitas Testamentum.
Yeah, those words are probably right. And you can
Latin.
find the words being used on page 2007, 421, 419, 301, 265, and 271. I looked it up. I'm
Did
not
you?
even kidding you.
You
Yeah.
went to those pages?
This is a book, an old book.
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
it's funny because biblioteca in
That
Spanish
that's
means
not
Library.
biblioteca.
I
though.
know,
Oh,
but,
yeah, yeah.
but it's that same
Yeah.
form, and it's library
very similar.
in Spanish.
Yeah. So that's the first time that it was used. And then the first time in English texts were in 1853. And it's by Richard Chenevix. And later he became the Archbishop of Dublin. And he was more talking about how this was a bad thing. Very specifically, it was a fearful thing. It was that any language should have a word to express the pleasure which men feel at the calamities of others. It was this dire plea to not feel this thing.
So Richard went up on the pulpit and was like, "Listen,
Yeah.
you Dubliners, You cannot.
He probably talked
You
like
cannot
that.
use
Yeah.
the word Schadenfreude.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he sounded like.
Yeah. So let's talk about America a little bit with it.
She really
was
made herself
great.
laugh there. That's good.
I did.
So in the New York Times in 1898, Edward Beck wrote, "Just now the Germans are rubbing their hands over the Anglo-French Sakota imbroglio." There's so many words here. And indulging incantiously in the Schadenfreude. So that was in 1898 in America. Okay. July 24th, 1926, The Spectator published an article which was written, "There is no English word for Schadenfreude."
Schadenfreude.
We need that thing, right?
Schadenfreude.
We need Siri to say it again.
Because there is no such feeling.
I don't know if that's true.
That's a
I-
lie.
They're saying the
That-
author's saying it
in
doesn't exist.
On July 24th, 1926, the quote in The Spectator is, "There is no English word for Schadenfreude because there is no such feeling." Clara disagrees with that. Why do you say that?
Because it's like you're preying on people's downfall. Like you want karma, and so like when you feel like karma's come and like people get what they deserve, you're like, yeah, good.
Which is decidedly an American
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Is it? Because the word comes from Germany, right?
Right.
Is it just German, though?
No, of course not.
When like was the first use of this word like in Germany? Like how old is this word?
Yeah, so in Germany, this word was first used in the 1740s.
Okay.
I'm going to throw a clink in the whole thing right
Okay.
now. Okay.
Clink.
So many people think of this word. I clink. That's right. So many people think of this word as German, but there are other languages that have other words for the same meaning and
For the same
feeling.
Not
feeling.
surprised.
Not surprised?
Nope.
So,
I
do you
mean,
have that
it's a
other
thing.
pronunciation? Stand by on
Oh,
that.
yes, I
okay,
do.
just get that up there.
I'm ready.
She's going to whisper it to us.
So,
Oh yeah,
There
this lady's got
are-
a voice.
Greek and French both have words as well. The ancient Greek word is pronounced
Epikarikakia.
epikarikakia. okay? Clara, do you do these?
Oh my gosh, you do
Yes,
the
I
English
am.
USA pronunciation?
Yeah,
That was
I
so
am
good.
the English USA.
Wow.
So
USA.
That was too
that was
perfect.
really good.
Oh my
You
gosh.
should
You need to take this on the
take the
road.
job.
That is the actual first time pleasure
That
at
feeling
the
was-
misfortune of others is found. And it is Aristotle at 350 BCE.
Classic Aristotle.
And then other people were like, we like this feeling. Let's find a word for it. This is great.
So Aristotle discusses this word in Rhetoric 2. He says to have an emotion is to experience pain or pleasure or both. Okay? And he goes on to say that envy, this is a direct quote from Rhetoric 2, envy is a kind of pain at the sight of good fortune in the case of those like themselves, and not for the sake of a man getting anything, but because of others possessing it. For those men will be envious who have or seem to have others like them. I mean, like in birth, relationship, age, moral habit, reputation, or possessions. So he goes into this whole thing about envy and how envy is this thing within man. So who is envious? That's the question. Well, he goes on to answer that. This is who is envious. So who can be envious? We talked about who people
Everybody.
can be envious of, right?
Totes.
Yeah. That is why those who attempt great things and succeed are envious. They think that everyone is trying to deprive them of their own. And those who are honored for some special reason, especially for wisdom or happiness. And the ambitious are more envious than the unambitious. And those who are wise in their own conceit, for they are ambitious of a reputation for wisdom. And, in general, those who wish to be distinguished in anything are envious in regard to it. And the little-minded, because everything appears to them to be great.
He
That's
really
so
could have just said
mean.
everybody.
Like,
He could have just been like,
that's like all these
It's
people.
like he was writing an essay and he needed more words, you know?
Yes, right? So,
That's so mean.
Rhetoric 2 has lots of words. If you wanted to, there's tons of words in it. So who is envious? That's pretty much everyone.
Everybody.
Right?
The thing about like ambitious people being envious, I think, is very true because like it's like Chloe and I are going through like college stuff right now because we're about to graduate, and it's like every time I hear about someone else getting into college, I'm like, I want to get into college. Like it's the kind of thing where it's like when I hear someone else got into a college I wanted to go to, it's like,
Yeah.
oh well, I was supposed to do that. It's like that kind of thing.
Yeah. So, and in that, you're also discussing people who are like you in birth or relationship or age,
Like
right?
other people at my school, like are going to go to a college I want to go to. I wanted to do that. That was
Yes.
going to be what I did.
She's done for.
I'm
Just
done
kidding, you're
for.
not.
So
Positive encouragement.
Let's take this back to the word at hand now, okay? Because now it starts to get interesting a little bit. So nemesis. So here, why don't you pronounce that word for me too?
In Nicomachean Ethics.
Yeah, that's his big ethics book, right? That,
Wait, I said that weird. Can I do it
yes,
again?
go ahead.
In Nicomachean Ethics.
Yes,
Okay, I feel better.
Aristotle says the following: Nemesis is a painful response to another's undeserved good fortune, while Pathanos is a painful response to any good fortune of another, deserved or not. And Epicharikakias,
Hey, nice.
Look at him
job.
thank you.
You
Thank
will.
you very much. The person takes pleasure in another's ill fortune. All rooted and stemmed in that envy. All coming out of being envious of someone else. So there's three different ways that Aristotle actually looks at it, right? You've got the nemesis, which is a painful response. So I'm feeling pained at another's good fortune. That's not what Schadenfreude is. And then you've got Pathanos, which is a painful response to good fortune of another, deserved or not. Okay, so that's being pained by that. And then you've got Epicharikakios, which is a person taking pleasure in another's ill fortune. Now I'm just showing off.
You really are. You are. Honestly, I think from the time people began, that probably is something that's going to happen, you know, because it's like envy is a natural part of who we are, even though, like, even if you are trying to not be envious, like it can come in. So it's really just trying to find ways to like not be envious. So I think then finding pleasure in people who are not getting somewhere because it's like, oh, well, ha ha ha, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's something that is almost, and I hate to say it, ingrained in us because it's almost the satisfaction of like, yeah, okay, they didn't get there or something happened or like,
I mean,
I was able
as
to.
human beings, are there not like core things we feel? Like, do we not share feeling different things when different things are happening to us or we're in different situations and circumstances?
I also think it's just like very interesting that this word obviously has a ton of like linguistic history and it's been around forever. And also like all five of us, like I heard about this word and I immediately was like, oh yeah, that's not a pretty feeling, but it's something that exists. And then there's that author who was like, no, it doesn't exist. Like the denial of that is kind of crazy to me, but also not crazy because I understand denying that this feeling exists because it's like kind of an ugly thing.
Right, because why would you want that feel? Like people don't want to admit that they have that feeling.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like a thing. It's like people feel like there's not enough good fortune to go around. So like when you are seeing someone else succeed, you're like, oh no, like I wanted to succeed. And then when you're seeing someone else fail, it's like more success for me.
It's
Like
like
there's, go ahead.
it's like everyone like wants to be something different. So like if you have something, but you'll always look at someone else and be like, darn, I want that. And then that person will see you and be like, darn, I want what they have.
Yeah, that's that envy again. Going right back to that envy. So this book that Aristotle wrote on ethics,
Rhetoric 2, the sequel.
right? No, the one you said so wonderfully.
In Nicomachean Ethics.
There you go. In that book. So that book is really the basis of our civilizations and our cultures from that time forward. So those ethics and things have been ingrained into societies and laws And so all of these definitions of what these feelings are and how to reclaim justice for certain emotions and things are all based in Aristotle. So the fact that this word, go ahead and play it for me. The fact that the Greek one, the fact that this word,
Epicharikakia.
right? Epicharikakia.
Man,
The fact that
she
this
annoys me the
word
way she
is
says it.
in here.
Cocky.
I know. She sounds so cocky saying
Mind
it.
your own business card.
It's
I know.
it comes down the
I
generations.
need her downfall.
You are going to revel when she is no longer
She's going to say
inside
that word wrong
computer.
next time. Yeah, I'm like,
I'm going to close out the tab and you're going to be so happy.
But there are other languages that also have it. Let's play a little game.
okay.
What languages do we think have words for it? And what languages do we think do not have a word for Schadenfreude?
I think
okay?
romantic. Oh, sorry.
I was going to
Yeah.
give you some.
I was
Go
going to
ahead,
say,
give it to
I
me.
don't think romantic languages have it. Were you going to say you do?
I don't know.
Well,
right.
I don't think so.
I don't think so because if Spanish doesn't have, or no, English doesn't have it. Oh, I don't know.
I was going to say.
I'm still saying no.
say the opposite.
So
I'm
in
gonna say the
English,
opposite.
they say English just adopted
Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude from
Because
German.
English has Latin and also Germanic root.
Yeah. So I'm going to say one. You're going to
Okay.
keep track of your own scores. Okay.
Okay.
Got
All
it.
right. We'll keep track of your own
So
scores.
we put a finger
A
up
finger
when we
if you
get it right.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So let us go with Mandarin Chinese.
Yeah.
I think so.
Oh, wait.
Okay.
I don't know.
You have,
You have to
decide.
decide.
Okay, I'm gonna say it does have it.
Okay.
I also feel like it does.
Okay. Did you pick?
Yeah, I think it does.
And it does.
Yes.
Ding, 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 ding. All of you get
Winners
a point
all
there.
around.
Winner.
How
How many
right.
are there? Do we need two hands up?
No. One handle.
Okay.
I like the
One
two
hand
hands. I think it's
Okay.
fun.
I know. It
How
feels
about
equilibrium?
Japanese?
Yes.
No.
Okay, we got a yes. We got a no.
I'm going to go with Clara. No.
I'm a little confused because of. Okay.
because
wait.
of Mandarin Chinese.
I know.
Yeah. Talk it out here. Maybe you'll get it.
Okay. I'm gonna say no.
You're going to say no.
Oh, I'm nervous.
No.
Kate, you're
The
all alone.
answer
I'm all alone.
is no.
It's okay.
I'm
It's
the
okay.
only one.
Oh, haha.
You forget to gloat.
How about Hebrew?
Yes.
I think so. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Jenna? Hebrew.
I'm gonna say no.
Jenna's going to
she's
say
being
no.
different.
And the answer is yes.
Boom.
Yay.
Ding, ding, ding for three of you. We've got Clara and Chloe tied, and Streepy and Jenna also tied.
It's our winner noise.
How about Italian?
No.
No, because we're
No.
going with our romantic
No,
language.
I agree with that. No.
No.
The answer is indeed no.
Boom.
What about Danish?
Ooh.
I'm gonna say yes.
I don't know. Can we have a conference?
Danish.
No, you can't have a conference.
that's
That's cheating. What do you think this is?
Okay.
They're teaming up.
Oh,
That's
Look me in the
unfair.
eyes. Look me in the eyes. 1, 2, 3.
No.
So we've got no.
Cheater
We've got,
McGee's.
what do you say?
I think I said yes.
Yes?
I'm gonna say no.
You're going to say no. And the answer is yes.
Hey,
It
that's what
does.
cheaters get. No, I'm just kidding.
We're tied. We're tied.
Oh, we are tied.
And we're going to do
Kate's the big
one
loser.
more here.
Oh, more.
cry.
There's one more. There's
One
one more.
more.
You
One
said
more.
we didn't need two hands.
Well, you don't. You didn't get them all right.
You just had enough foresight to know no one would get them all right.
Okay, continue.
Russian.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
That is correct. It is a yes.
Yeah.
We've got a three-way tie
In
there.
Mother Russia.
But it was all for fun.
good.
So we all win there. But there are so
Where's
many.
my tchotchke?
We're all winners.
Where's my donut? You always bring.
Donut was in the tradition episode. I'm
Right.
sorry I didn't bring a
Can the new
pies.
tradition be you bring donuts when we do this?
Yeah.
I like
Yeah,
that
okay.
tradition. There's
I'll do
only
that.
you only have to do it one more time.
Or
I love that.
a charcuterie board.
Charcuterie
Yes.
Day.
That's right. So all of those languages have a word for Schadenfreude.
That's cool.
Nice.
It goes back that far. So I kind of talked about the history for you all.
Thank you.
And now I want to split history into the lane we're talking about, which is Schadenfreude. There is a book.
Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, do you want to have carb help
this
you?
one.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay,
You
this
could go
book
ahead.
is called Justice and Desert-Based Emotions,
Keep going.
a philosophical exploration.
And it is
She's so
by
good.
It's by Christian Sonargis.
That's pretty good.
She's
That
so
was great.
good.
And this is what they say is the primary difference between epikereikakia and Schadenfreude.
You're so good at saying that word.
As used by Aristotle, it refers to pleasure at others' undeserved bad fortunes.
Oh, so not just bad
Interesting.
fortunes, but undeserved. So if it's a deserved bad fortune,
That's like
it's
karma.
not Schadenfreude.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's just like karma.
Yes. So the other has no moral judgment to it whatsoever. It's
Which one is
So
As
somebody
long as
doesn't
something
they
bad
deserve
happens.
Yeah,
it?
short, Schadenfreude is just pleasure at someone's misfortune. Whereas epikereikakia is, I'm just repeating this, it refers to pleasure at others' undeserved bad
Okay.
fortunes.
Okay.
I feel like I don't feel that a lot. I feel like when
Yeah.
I at least feel like I think they deserve it.
Okay. So that's Schadenfreude.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we split on our
because-
road. We've talked about the history of it.
Yeah.
And now we've gotten to Schadenfreude. And now we can go forward down the Schadenfreude lane, which is merely misfortune at pleasure at others' misfortune.
Whether they
makes sense.
deserve it or not.
Because
Yeah.
I feel like with epikereikakia, you can, like most people would feel a sense of empathy if it's something
Right.
that's undeserved.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense to me that feeling doesn't necessarily like that people didn't latch on to that word,
Sure.
even though epikereikakia is so much fun to say.
I did a little bit of looking into
Go ahead.
the different types of Schadenfreude.
Yeah.
And I kind of found 3 flavors.
Oh.
3 flavors.
It's one
Cherry,
of them
blue
spicy.
raspberry, lemon lime.
Correct. No. They are.
Can I have lemon lime, please?
Lemon
You
lime
can have
Schadenfreude.
either aggression, justice, or rivalry.
Rivalry
And in
sounds
this
good.
in this 3 model system, these are the 3 flavors, 3 models.
Can you say those one more time for our
Aggression.
listeners? Mm-hmm.
Justice,
She's giving her own sound effects.
yeah, and rivalry. Bum bum bum.
Aggression is cherry, rivalry is blue raspberry, and
Rivalry's
and
lime.
Rivalry's lime.
I think so.
Okay.
Anyway,
Sure, whatever.
so aggression deals with sort of a group identity. And this is kind of like the example I wrote down is when you want the team that beat your team to lose, even though you're already out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you don't really have any stakes in it, but they're beating your team and they hurt your team, so you want them to
Yes.
lose.
Okay.
And then the next one is rivalry. And rivalry is similar to aggression, except that it's on a more individual level. This one is more like if you're playing Monopoly and your friend is really close to like getting a Monopoly and they really want to buy like Manhattan Avenue and you don't need Manhattan Avenue, but you buy it. That's what that is.
Just to get them.
Yeah, just to get them.
So fun.
Oh my gosh, all
Kate's
of this
done
is like
that.
hurting
I
my
have
heart a
done
little
that.
bit.
You have?
Yeah.
What have you done?
I feel like I've played Monopoly and I've taken I've actually done like that exact example before.
Wow.
Michigan Avenue?
Not Michigan
okay,
Avenue. I
so
don't
not
remember
that
what it
exact
was.
example, so
but
that's
I have
not it.
like bought things on like Monopoly because I'm like, I don't want this other person to get it, so I'm gonna buy it myself.
Yeah.
Play Monopoly.
I
It
don't
stresses
do
me
those
out.
things.
Me either.
Monopoly's kind of an evil game.
It is.
It is.
I don't
It's
play
capitalism.
The
Monopoly.
original was actually created by a female, though. Did you know that?
Hey.
And then it was
We just
actually
got
kind of
through with
stolen from
Women's
her.
History
by,
Month.
Classic.
yeah. That's all very interesting because I also found.
There's one more.
Oh, there's one more?
There's one more.
But wait.
I didn't talk about justice.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead with justice.
So justice is basically comeuppance. When somebody like does something bad and then something bad happens to them and you're like deserved. Karma.
Jinx.
Yes. So I too, what I found is a slight bit different than what you found, though. But I found a guy named Emery Health. No, I'm sorry. That's not his name.
That's
A guy named Emory Health Sciences.
This was published in Emory Health Sciences in 2018.
The book was named after him.
Okay, that's right. And it also discussed 3 different areas for Schadenfreude. One was envy, the other was deservingness, and then intergroup conflict.
Those are similar,
So those
yeah.
3 are very
Yeah.
similar, just different names. Like deservingness is kind of like the justice that you talked
Right.
about. Yep. The intergroup conflict, that is your rivalry
Aggression.
one.
And
No, would
aggression.
that be? Yeah, that'd be more aggression. I feel like.
Aggression
Well,
was the groups.
It might be. It might be a combination of those because they
Right.
specifically cite rival groups in sporting events and
Yeah.
things like that with games.
Aggression.
So, and then envy, which is probably the most violent of the three of those. So how much does it matter which one of those your Schadenfreude falls under? What do you think? Does it matter? Or Schadenfreude is Schadenfreude, that's the way it is? Or is there one that is potentially worse than another?
So my opinion is I kind of group them all together because I don't like the idea of Schadenfreude. So I feel like and I'm not trying to sound like, holier than thou or like, this kind of person, but like the thought of anybody, like of things bad happening, the thought of people laughing, they're being upset, like it doesn't even matter what it is. Like the thought of it just hurts my heart so much.
So go.
What's interesting about that is that I also found that like the people who have more empathy are much less likely to experience Schadenfreude because depersonalization is a really key element to feeling that thing. Because you are going to have less empathy for this person, you're going to feel more joy on their downfall if you're not thinking about them as much of a person, if you're less empathetic and you're kind of like dehumanizing them.
Just the way we relate to other people, the way we find ourselves in other people, the way we're able to admit that they're a human being, I think that has a ton to do with whether or not you find Schadenfreude in yourself or you don't.
Yeah. And I think too, we talked so much before about like, and I can't remember exactly the episode, but we talked about like treating others the way you want to be treated. And I think too about like, there's so many,
I think that was the nice episode.
Is that nice?
Yeah.
I just think about like little things that happen to you personally where like, if people laugh at things or like just little, especially growing up in school and like, kids are mean sometimes.
They can be.
And so like just thinking about different things where it's like, okay, to that person seeing what happened to me, that probably was not a big deal that they're like laughing at it. But then thinking about how much it affects you and you don't even realize like how much these little things affect you. And then thinking like, I don't want to do that to somebody else. I don't want to inadvertently hurt somebody's feelings by, laughing or taking joy in something that they've done, even if it seems inconsequential.
So let's just take me, for example.
Okay, let's take you.
I'm walking. Okay, it's an icy day outside.
Okay.
Don't slip.
And I slip.
Oh no!
And I fall, and I'm fine. I'm not hurt. I'm not injured. I slip, I fall. It happens right in front of you at a moment you weren't expecting.
Do you
laugh at me?
I do laugh. I laugh.
Is it you or is it somebody I don't know?
It's me.
Oh,
I laugh. Can we tell the story from Murder when you split?
Sure, go right ahead.
So we did laugh at this when it happened. We were in Tech Week for one of our shows that just happened a couple months ago.
A while ago.
Because it was...
that was a couple months ago.
Right, yes. And so we were in Tech Week and we're just like doing some last minute blocking adjustments. And Dominic starts hopping up on the stage to kind of like just demonstrate what he meant. And as he was doing so, he ripped his pants.
In the butt. And so as a director's gift, we got him some new pants.
Yeah.
And we all laughed. But
They
not
did.
because we don't like you, but because it was a little funny.
It was a funny thing that happened.
It was probably surprising.
Yes.
Right? All right, there is a guy, Aaron Benziev. I don't know if that's how you say it. Sorry, Aaron. And from 2000, he argues that the moral evaluation of Schadenfreude should be dependent upon the severity of the misfortune.
I think I can agree on that because like if something happens like to your friend, like I did have a friend who like slipped on the ice and like our whole group laughed at him, not because we're like, we hate you, so that was funny, but it's because it's like, oh, you're my friend and that thing didn't really hurt you.
Right.
It like hurt you like a teeny little bit. Like you might have hurt like your butt a little bit when you fell, but that's it.
Yeah,
low
or
stakes.
It hurt your pride, for example, or something like that.
Yeah.
That is very different than being really joyful that someone you know lost their job.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's mean.
That kind of misfortune is extremely high, and some people equate that kind of Schadenfreude as having some narcissistic complexes and some advanced psychological issues. Does that
when
make
I was
sense?
doing research, my computer was a little worried about me.
Yeah.
It was like mental disorders that go along with these things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it just led me to like serial killers. I'm like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So we also this season though talked about the word villain, and we're not going to talk about it in the farmhand way that it was intended, but let's talk about it in the way we know about it today. How do we feel when we are watching a show, any kind of Marvel thing that Clara's never seen,
Nothing.
and the villain has misfortune upon them? How do we feel when that kind of thing happens?
Happy.
You feel happy.
Yeah.
You feel joy.
Well, it's like
at that
it's a
villain's
little
misfortune.
different because it's like a fictional character. So if like they die, like you can laugh about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So fiction is different.
Yeah.
So that goes back to what Aaron said. It's the severity of the misfortune. If it's in fiction, it's okay then for us to be joyful at that misfortune. Do you agree with that, Jenna? Because you're the one who said this should not be a feeling, almost
I know.
like that first quote
Well, I didn't
from...
say it shouldn't be a feeling.
yeah.
I was saying that I don't
like it.
like
You
the
don't-
feeling.
there we go.
And
Okay.
so I think
Well,
there
it would
are-
be nice if it wasn't a feeling.
It would be
right?
nice if it wasn't a feeling. And so, so my thoughts are like, I don't like this feeling. I don't want that to be who I am. So I want to try to do things to not have that feeling.
Yeah. Is that okay, though, when you're watching that show and the villain has misfortunes and you feel good about that?
Here's the thing about Jennifer Carpenter.
Do tell.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Is that I tend to have a little too much empathy for like people and characters.
Uh-huh.
And so when I see, again, like, don't look at me like, oh, this little Miss Goody Two Shoes.
Yeah.
But when I see these villains, I always think, okay,
Like
I
the
told you guys the
Disney.
story about
Yeah.
Hans,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, Hans. You
Where I'm
wrote
like,
Disney.
Hans, there is good in him. So I tend to, like, I really
Clara
do.
still does not agree with
No.
you. That was months ago.
It's just you are too nice. You feel
We're
for
really
people
getting
who
a
I
lot
don't
of
think
things,
deserve it.
callbacks.
We
in
are
this
really
episode.
callbacks. I know. So yeah.
Great, okay,
Now
and that's
I will
fine.
admit that there are definitely times when you're watching some villains and stuff where you're like, okay, this villain has got to
But
go.
most
Like,
of
they're
the
doing
time,
terrible
the
stuff.
villain has a misfortune, and you're like, "Oh, that poor child,"
Right? Like,
because
if
his
somebody
mother
could just
didn't love
come
him enough, and so
like,
he just
encourage
needs a
them.
hug to change his life around. That's what you think, right?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
No lie.
I think that sometimes too. I'm also
Yeah.
pretty empathetic.
It just depends on the villain because the villain is like kind of like just like I'm evil. Then it's like okay, I feel nothing for you.
Right. This is making me think of a more extreme example that I thought of while I was researching this word, which is, I don't know if anybody watched the Ted Bundy tapes when those came out on Netflix a couple years ago, but there's a section in that docuseries, whatever, where they go over like the public's reaction to his execution. Like there were people outside of the prison that day, like with pins and flags, and like the slogan was "Burn Bundy, burn." And it's like a crazy, like watching it now, or like, and looking back on that, because it was not a couple years ago, it was a couple decades ago. It's like, how can these people be feeling these things? But in the time, the reaction publicly to this mass murderer was so intense and severe that it made sense for people to feel these things.
I wonder too if the energy that was placed on that feeling towards that person was refocused towards the victims. I wonder if that is more the route that we should be going in. Does that make right? Why are we spending our energy and our time and the emotional value that we have on the Ted Bundy portion instead of the making the world a better place, or making sure that doesn't happen, or providing services or help or assistance to anyone who might have been affected by that situation? Does that make sense?
It's similar. I think it applies in all those situations where instead of being happy that the villain is dead, you can cheer that the heroes won. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it really is about kind of changing your framing in your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think people just like they like being angry. They like building up that feeling, especially if like you're in a group and you can like bounce it off each other and like build that up. Like that's like it feels more satisfying than just being like, oh, I'm so happy that the victims are okay or something.
It's like when the bullies in like over dramatized shows where they're like, yeah, did you see that?
Yeah. Cronies
This
of
was
the
me
bully.
getting, yeah.
Yeah, that, I
cronies.
felt bullied just
Cronies.
now.
Did you feel
Yeah,
it?
I felt your energy.
No, I was
I know,
you were
were trying to
joining
get
me.
me to bully
Yeah.
too. That's what you were trying to do. Yeah, we do focus a lot on those negative feelings a lot. And we try to get people to engage with those too sometimes, which goes back to 2 episodes ago, the gossip episode, when we were talking about some of those things potentially. So yeah, you've got a few examples there.
I do. I have more than a few. I
Okay,
have
give us more than
11
a few.
examples.
11.
I don't know if we want to hear all 11, but I'll share a couple and then maybe tell me if you want to know more about it.
Okay.
Okay. So 11 examples of Schadenfreude. Competition is one, which we've talked about. Okay. Zero-sum game. Do you know what that means?
I think I do.
Can you
What
tell
it-
us a little bit more?
It's like either I win or like nothing. Like I win or like this
No
it
one
doesn't
can-
work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
Right. So yeah. So like this gives, they said it gives a rational basis for it as someone's failure might benefit you. So
Right.
it's like, okay, well, if somebody is going to win this, almost, have you seen, what is the Korean show with
Squid Game?
Squid Game.
I have not.
It's a little bit like Squid Game because
Yeah.
it's like, okay.
There's like 365, I think, people in this game, and they're slowly like being killed off. They're playing children's games, and the more people that die, the more money is put into this pot that the final winner gets.
yeah.
So it's almost like a Hunger Games type of thing?
Kind of, except that there's more incentive the more people that die.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a pretty dark show.
Yeah.
Chloe said dark. A lot of things I found in research were talking about how this is a dark emotion.
It really is.
This is a dark feeling.
Yeah. Sorry, you said dark, which one of the one of the 11 is dark humor.
Ooh.
Where it's like,
Interesting.
no, but I approve of it. Where it's like, dark humor is based on like serious, painful things, but it's like, it's still absurd. It still can be like funny where you're like, it's dark, but yeah. Okay, some other ones. Rivalry, something else we also talked about.
Yeah.
Social comparison, we talked about that.
Yeah.
Justice.
Which goes to the envy thing too.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And this, so there's this one guy, his name is Arthur Schopenhauer. And he said to feel envy is human, to savor Schadenfreude is diabolic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that because we're not like the feeling itself is not something you can necessarily control, but to savor it is a completely different thing.
Yeah.
I feel like that's almost like sadistic, that kind of
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. But again, to the degree that it is, which one of those 3 do you fall in? For example, when my pants split open, it was an immediate response, right? It was shocking. It was, there was no, my impending death was not there. The feeding of my family was not a question there. It was trivial, but it brought you joy without you even thinking about it. Correct? Yeah. Like there was no, you didn't.
It still seems to
But you don't have to. You didn't think about it, and it's just an emotion that came out of you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to share all of them, but there are like 2 more I want to share.
Great.
Fair weather friend.
Ooh.
Right?
We've all heard of that.
No, what is that? It's
fair
like
weather-
someone you're only
Oh,
friends
yeah,
with
go
when things are like easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So you do know. So you were lying.
So no, I wasn't. I was confused.
Likely
I
story.
still understand how that relates to Schadenfreude. Can
Well,
you tell
because
me?
they're saying that like a fair weather friend might be somebody who is only friends with you in like those good moments and good times.
Yeah.
And then when like bad stuff happens, they kind of like back out of it and they're like, oh, well, that person is like, bad stuff is happening. I don't want to kind of be there around it.
Yeah.
So they'll just kind of be around for the good parts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they'll enjoy not just not being around, but they'll kind of enjoy those hardships.
Like they're your friend, but also when bad things happen to you, they kind of are like, yeah,
But
makes
then
sense.
they're not really your friend,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. The other one, and I want to share this one just because I like the name of it.
Yeah.
Tall poppy syndrome.
Oh, great. Oh, what is that one?
It sounds happy, but I'm guessing it's not.
Tall poppy syndrome is a culture that resents high status individuals. and are attacked and harshly criticized.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So that goes back to Aristotle.
Yeah.
That envy thing of people who like are successful or something, that high status.
They're like, look at that tall puppy.
Just because you're six, or you've been honored for that.
Just because you're 6 foot, is that what you just
No,
said?
I was-
because you're 6
I
foot
was-
doesn't mean you're so great.
I was starting to say
That's
successful.
Dominic's like insecurities coming out.
I am not 6 foot.
They've never
if
seen you standing. They won't know.
Stand up so they
God.
can
If I were to
see.
stand now, though, I would be so tall, my head would be out of the shot. They'd think I was so
They're like,
tall.
So
That
I saw you rolled her eyes. What's this Roman holiday?
Oh my
one?
gosh, Roman Holiday. Have you ever seen
that
the
the
movie,
movie?
Roman Holiday?
I've never seen it.
I tried to start
But
it
I've seen
and
the
I
clip
got
where she gets her
bored.
hair cut and she's like, I love it.
Oh my gosh, I love that movie.
love it.
Okay, so Roman Holiday is a very interesting one because it refers to gladiator events they were held on
like-
holidays in ancient Rome,
yeah.
and it typically featured fights to the death.
yeah, and people liked that. So
People
Schadenfreude.
loved it because
That
they're
was-
like,
that's
I'm on
so
holiday.
true, yeah.
Let's see some death.
Yay.
And
That
that's
is-
like the Hunger Games.
Yeah,
But real life.
That is like
like
the
Squid Games.
epitome of joy at someone's misfortune.
yeah, having a Roman holiday.
Oh my gosh.
It makes you think about the movie a little differently.
So, Schadenfreude,
Schadenfreude, Schadenfreude.
which there's that song. It's also another song in Avenue Q.
Sing it.
I'm not gonna
Sing it.
sing. I'm not
He's
gonna
not a
sing.
puppet.
I'm
He
not gonna
can't.
The one I'm singing is a made up song.
Oh, did you make that one up? No, there's a real one in Avenue
there?
Q.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a
I
real
puppet
one.
Puppets sing it?
Do puppets sing? Yeah, no, I don't think puppets sing it.
Then who sings it?
I thought there were only
The-
puppets.
No,
No,
there's
there's-
there's humans in it.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's the what is it? The landlord.
they're
The
humans
landlord
in
sings that.
Yeah.
song.
And they-
I don't know anything about
and they
Avenue
interact
Q. I
like
with the
realize
puppets.
it.
We're way off topic now, but
I'm like,
it is.
I feel
It's like a
betrayed.
Sesame
Avenue
Street.
Q.
It's Sesame Street.
Yeah.
So there's real life
Oh,
people.
it's a
and
spoof.
It's an adult Sesame
Avenue
Street.
Q, Sesame Street.
Well, that didn't really connect, but yeah.
Avenue
Q. Sesame Street. Avenue Q. Sesame Street. There we
Right.
go.
All right.
Don't cut that out. If you cut that out, I'll cry.
It'll depend how long
We got
go.
there, but I don't know how we
Zoe,
got
I know
there.
you edit these. Don't cut it out.
Zoe, no. Zoe, please.
Um,
You know how I love puppets.
So, Schadenfreude is ingrained in our cultures from far long ago. Perhaps it's an innate emotion that's within inside of us. Maybe it's biological, or maybe it's because of past writings that have been passed down from culture to culture, and they're ingrained in our societies and our laws.
Like rhetoric too.
Yeah, that's it. Aristotle's epikereikakia
Hey.
meant joy at another's undeserved bad fortune, whereas Schadenfreude makes no moral judgment on the activities surrounding the incident. It may or may not be something that we've experienced in one way or another. Looking from a societal view, it could be said that the degree to which it is felt, the category we fall in, the envy, the deservingness, the intergroup conflict, or the aggressive, the justice, the rivalry, can say a lot for where we're going. Is it normal to feel a bit of pleasure when I split my pants? Maybe, maybe not. Do we feel the same way when we look at Schadenfreude through the lens of envy? As Aristotle would say, those who are envious are those who attempt great things and succeed, those who are honored, the ambitious, those who are wise, those who wish to be distinguished, and the little-minded. That's pretty much everyone. That describes us all. And who are we envious of? Those near us in birth, relationship, age, moral habit, reputation, and possessions. That's most of the people we know. So if most of us feel envious to most of the people we are around, something needs to be tempered. We can't continue through time. And here it is. In order for me to explain what needs to happen, I'm going to introduce a new word to you. Mitfreude.
Mitfreude.
It's a word introduced by Nietzsche.
Nietzsche.
It means to feel joy from others feeling joy.
Oh, I feel that all the time.
Okay? He wrote this: "The serpent that stings us means to hurt us and rejoice as it does so. The lowest animal can imagine the pain of others. But to imagine the joy of others and to rejoice at it is the highest privilege of the highest animals." Let's not depersonalize people. Let's be the highest of animals. Wouldn't that be a thrill?
You did another one.
I did another one. Well,
We talked about Thrill. If you guys don't, did you
If
guys
you didn't
listen
watch
to
that episode.
that was last
Did you
month's
listen
episode. Did you
to
listen?
it?
Well, we've reached the end of our episode. I am Dominic,
I'm Jenna.
I'm Kate.
I'm Chloe.
And I'm Clara.
and you've been listening to One Word.
One word.
One word.
I kind of messed that one up.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
you did
It was
great.
perfect.
You did great. I was not joyful in your
I,
miss.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, there you go. Our word for next month is inspire.
Aww.
And
I definitely
next-
knew that's what it was.
You definitely did. I forgot to talk about it beforehand. That will be our season finale. next
Snapdoodles.
month.
Oh my gosh.
We'll see you
I'm going to bring a box of tissues.
I'll bring donuts.
next time.
I missed that.
One Word is a production of BFAC On Air.